About 1 year ago in my backyard, I built and rode my first jump. It took me around 50 attempts to get across it, but it immediately became my favorite thing to do.
Oh my God, I did it. It feels awesome. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Since then, I've built countless jumps, and though I have improved quite a lot, I still have a total lack of confidence when it comes to getting airtime. So the purpose of this video is to have a mountain bike coach tell me a list of everything I'm doing wrong and fix it on the same day. I'm really hoping this helps a lot of you struggling in this same gray area of knowing somewhat how to jump, but still not feeling totally confident with it. Also, let me just say a quick thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get into it.
I'm here with Jay from Roots MTB. He is a coach along with, you got 3 other coaches?
Yeah, we have 3 other coaches, a couple in Kansas City and 2 here in St. Louis area.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys watched the last one, but I was trying to work on jumping the step up and I was having quite a problem just getting over the top. Sometimes I'd get it, sometimes I wouldn't, and it just kind of, it seemed like something that I could just improve on with practice or with some coaching. So what do you think we'll go through today?
Well, first, for sure, we're gonna start off fairly slow. We're not gonna start on your giant jump that you built out in the woods, as amazing as it is. We're gonna start with the basics on something that's still fairly big for most of us, but we can work through some of the small intricacies of this, as in jumping is all in the setup. So if we can figure that out here, we can be a lot safer when we go into a bigger obstacle in the woods.
Cool. Yeah, let's see how terrible I am.
Okay, first run was great, super comfortable going over that, but now that we've slowed it down, we can look at it and make corrections fairly quickly. The first thing I notice is you're very tall coming into it, and you're a little bit too far forward. Being further forward is going to weight that front end, which is going to shorten the distance of no matter what you're doing.
Okay.
Okay.
So how do I just keep back whenever
Let the arms straighten out just a little bit and stay a little bit more rigid on the face. Try not to absorb the whole face of it. Okay? We're losing energy as soon as we do that. You're trying to get the bike as far up to the lip as possible before anything happens. What a lot of people will do is they're trying to jump the jump. You want to ride the whole jump, which is good that you're already doing it, but you just have a little bit of softness at the top, which as soon as you come off of that, the front end just drops a hair. And then when you're clawing with your feet, it takes the whole bike and throws it a little bit forward. You're not nose diving this or anything, but no, the movement is here, the feet. If you're wondering what the feeling is like, imagine if you were standing facing me and I grabbed the carpet and yanked it out from underneath you like a cartoon character, and both your feet went like this.
Yeah.
That's the same movement here.
You should feel like you're,
Yeah, you should almost feel like you're going over, but no, that's what keeps the front wheel high. Right. You can adjust the rear wheel, you can't really adjust the front wheel in the air.
Okay.
With this advice, I was anxious to get over to the step up and try it again. For some reason, the whole pulling the rug out from underneath me analogy really clicked in my head. And it reminded me of Charlie Brown when he goes to kick the football, but he gets it pulled away. If we slow old Charlie down, here you can see he's got his heels down, legs straight, and his body is back. Charlie might not have been able to kick a football, but he definitely could pull a fully extended no-hander.
Made it over it.
What's wrong with that? I was like, oh, is he trying to do that? Nope. You're still pointing your toes a hair early. Yeah. See where they are now?
Yeah.
You don't need to claw until you're like here.
So clawing in my knees. So I think that's just part of me, like, this is a giant jump. I need to suck this up. I'm going too fast.
But your claw is awesome. Your position's really good. I wouldn't worry anything about that. Just see, and again, we're being nitpicky, but you want to be able to do this as well as possible.
Yeah.
Hold it a hair longer. That was really good, man. It looks like you're trying to extend, give yourself that extension, which is okay, but all this movement in the air is unnecessary. You had the speed just to float it. Your front wheel's high here, but right now you're almost pulling back to look over the edge and then push forward. You have plenty of speed. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
You can stay a little bit more rigid with your arms and just claw those feet so the front end drops. Okay. And then your front end might hit right here, but your back end doesn't hit until further down, and now you can steer. Now it probably didn't feel great, and it probably wasn't the coolest looking one, but look how smooth it is. Look at your body, stays kind of in the same spot, It's a little tall, but watch, your front wheel rolls you onto the wall. Look how smooth that is, dude.
That's great. Dang, okay.
Again, it's not super Hollywood, but get the mechanics first and then add your...
Yeah, and it's not like I'm doing flare purposefully.
Just an FYI, the flare we're talking about is this mid-air pump that I do. I'm not pumping to look cool or on purpose, but it's really my body reacting to not having enough height from the jump, and I've kind of made a bad habit out of it. But if you're in the same boat as me, Jay says something right here that I never realized.
And what you may find too, and this sounds weird, but for me it's hard to go straight off of something.
Yeah.
I need a timing piece in there. So if you have to develop a timing piece to get you there, and by that I mean I stomp into the face, once I'm in the air, I turn this way, I turn back, I land.
Oh, like for doing some sort of flare type stuff?
Only for your timing, because a lot of times, like you see, you look at World Cup downhill racers and they're doing whips and stuff like that off of jumps. They're not necessarily doing that to show off. That's the only way they know how to take a jump at 30 miles an hour. They have to change.
Oh, just so they feel
going straight. You ever see a World Cupper go straight over a big jump?
Right, no.
Never. There's always a movement there.
Yeah,
it's not to...
Oh, that's weird. No.
You know, it probably slows them down a hair, but at least they know that that's their thing. They go up, they move, they go back, they land, they do it again. Whereas going straight over something, you're just like, oh my God.
Feels so much better, man.
It's kind of like, you probably are like, man, it doesn't feel as cool, but see how you're just kind of tall. This is where you ride in the woods too. When you jump, you're always in that position. You extend it a little bit, but that's not your arms, that's your feet clawing.
Right, that's me pulling up. So relatively, it's just me seeming like I need to just keep my heels down, keep rigid in my legs, mostly just let my bottom half do the work and not my upper half. Like I can do half the effort and get further just by like coming in nose, not necessarily nose heavy, but
no, but not all the way back either.
If you're mid-air and you're too far back or too far forward, that's not right. You want to be like you're riding normally.
Yeah, you should be roughly in the same position mid-air as you are when you're cruising around the trails. There's no reason to be fully extended or have the handlebars up in your belly button or something like that. And the hope is that you do it enough times that your body just starts to do this naturally, so that you're not having to relearn it. Your body's going to do this whether your brain remembers it or not. Some of this stuff is just going to be just start happening with your body. So then once that's there, you can start progressing towards things that are a little bit bigger.
In under 3 hours, I was able to get a personalized list of 5 things that I needed to correct, and I was able to fix them in the same 3 hours. Let's reiterate these things too, because I haven't heard them much before, and I feel like they're very important to developing a perfect jump technique. Number 1 would be keeping your heels down all the way through the jump. If you start to point your feet too early, then you tend to jump over the jump as opposed to riding through it. Number 2 is keeping my legs straight and rigid all the way through the lip. If you come in with bent knees, then your legs will be soft and you'll lose energy and speed on the jump. For number 1 and 2, it helps to think of having a rug pulled out from underneath you, or Charlie Brown kicking that football. The third thing was mid-air, I should have the same riding position that I have while I'm normally riding. If you're too far back or forward, then you can't adjust your bike properly. Having everything centered allows you to have more control in the jump. Fourth would be pumping midair is okay, but it shouldn't be necessary every time you jump. I was mainly doing this because I wasn't adhering to those first 3 rules, so it became a necessity for me. But I've come to think of pumping as an indicator that I'm doing something else wrong, so I watch out for that now. And fifth is more of a tip, but for a longer jump, you might develop a timing piece to keep everything fluid. This isn't something everyone needs, but it's nice to know that it could help in the future when I'm trying to progress on larger features. Now the coolest part about having this list is the very next day I was able to apply it, and I immediately was able to clear the step up almost every time with minimal effort. Just for comparison, listen to my grunts from before and how quiet I am now. That's because before I had Jay out, I was using all my energy to yank everything with my arms, and now I'm letting my legs do all the work, which are much more qualified for the job.
I probably did a total of maybe 20 runs as far as jumping goes.
Sure. At
And
the most, yeah.
exponentially, I already feel like I'm having to exert half the energy that I was doing, and then I'm getting a lot farther. And I've always kind of known I should keep my, like, come in a little bit on the nose so you can adjust everything, but I was never able to actually pull it off. But having him here just to immediately correct me, like, nope, keep your legs down, nope, do this, like, it's so good.
Yeah.
But
yeah, sometimes it's amazing what just a second set of trained eyes can do in terms of being able to teach you this stuff quickly, put a video on you, make a correction, and then move on, versus doing it incorrectly for years and years and not being able to know what you needed to do to change it. Now, you know, we can spend an hour out there on a jump and then quickly make changes and corrections and then move on.
Yeah, I already feel like I'm gonna come back out here tomorrow and just try to reapply, probably re-listen to some of these videos too.
Yeah, for sure. We our website is rootsmountainbiking.com, and you'll see that we really break things down so that your body just starts to remember certain things. We're going to give you, if you come to one of our clinics or a private lesson, you're going to get so more information than your brain can absorb and apply. But the goal is that your body will just start doing some of this stuff, and that gives you a chance to now maybe move on to the next thing, next challenge you want to conquer.
I truly cannot recommend Roots Mountain Biking enough. If you live in Missouri or the surrounding states and want to improve your riding, contact this guy. Seriously, you will not regret it. And speaking of improving your skills, I want to say a huge thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this episode. If you didn't know, Skillshare is an online learning community for creative and curious people. And as a member of that learning community, I can easily say I love it. Lately, I've been using it to brush up on all of my music skills like drumming, guitar, and piano, but most of all, I've been really enjoying Jack Vaughn's music composition with piano to keep me brushed up on my music theory, which definitely helps me when it comes to creating new music like this song in the background. And you can learn just about anything, like photography, animation, film and video, and loads of other stuff. The best part of this is the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a free trial of the premium membership, so you too can explore your creative side. A huge thank you to my patrons for the support this month. You guys rock, and thank you guys for watching. Let's get back to building next week. I'll see you then.